So we're going to move on now. We're already in chapter 6. So we have spanned a ton of space in between last week in the refresher and now. And remember, really, all of chapter 6 has to deal with functions. We're going to finally create smaller purpose-built methods that we can use to do small purpose-built functions. So just by way of refresher, remember, number one, that here, so I'll start inside of main and we'll work our way back from there. That if we are going to call a function, we have to use the parentheses notation there, right? So if I'm going to call a function from main, in this case, it is going to call deep. This is on line number 20, that function call. So here, during execution, after we have made this output statement, we are going to make a call to deep. So what happens then is we go to our function. Remember here in the function declaration that we have to declare what the function is going to do. If we declare void, for example, there is no return type. That means that once the job of our function is completed, the function simply vomits back control to the next line of code after its call, and that's the end of that. There is no work to be exchanged between the function that is called and its calling function. However, if we had a reason, which we do not in this example, but we will in another example, if we had a reason to return the result of the work that we do here inside of our function, we would declare what type it is based on that return. So if I'm going to return an integer, we would have there an int, a double, a string, so on and so forth. Here we do not have any arguments. That's going to be in our next example. But if we did have arguments that we were passing along, we would need to have the argument type and the variable name here in the function declaration. So I have two functions. I have a deep and I have a deeper. So deeper is going to be called from within deep. Hopefully that sparks your memory that, oh yeah, from inside of a function, I can call another function. That function can call another function, and we can keep, receiving the result of the work, the result of the work, the result of the work. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this. Remember that main calls deep, deep calls deeper, and let's see what the output is. As expected, I am starting in the main function. That's the very first output that we see. Next, I am now inside the function deep. Line number 20 calls to deep, which is right here. So that output is line 12. Line 13, we call back here to function. Remember, it's a void function because it's not returning anything. We call to deeper. Deeper has that output. I am now inside of function deeper. When this is done, it returns control back to deep, the line immediately following what the calling function was. So then we can see that it is back in deep. That's the second to the last line. And as soon as this is done, the flow of control is returned to line number 21 here inside of main, so that we can see back inside of main again. Remember, one of the things, and this is a bit of foreshadowing, I know you're thinking, screw you, Wolf, you told me this was a refresher and now you're going to tell me to look ahead. Yeah, I can make the rules. So one of the things to think about as we go ahead is the idea of the stack. A stack is, and we're going to come to this later on, I just want to start planting the seeds for it here. You can think of the stack in C++ and in the rest of the, the greater universe of computer science and coding. You can think of it like a stack of plates at a buffet. Pretty much, a buffet was you got to eat all that you wanted to in a place where you were in public, that you would touch utensils that other people had touched before that became an alarming proposition here during the pandemic. And what happens is the first plate is covered by the second plate, is covered by the third plate, is covered by the fourth plate. And it's important to know that for all of these kinds of interactions, whether or not it is unwinding the stack of function calls here, so we go from main to deep to deeper, C++ maintains that for you. If we were to go inside of an array, which I know we will get to after this video, and we go, from array at sub 0 to sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, sub 4, the neat thing about C++ is the way that all of our languages are hardwired. They can unwind that stack. So it's something that you don't have to maintain is, okay, now that we're done with deeper, I have to return C++'s attention back to deep. And once deep is done, I have to return C++'s attention back to main. Nah, you don't need to worry about that. C++ maintains for you who the calling function is and what the called function is, so that when deep is done being called from inside of main, it will return to main, even though inside of deep we have made another deeper function call here to inside of deeper. So call from within a call, from within a call, from within a call. All of those are legal and good decisions that you can be making here inside of C++.